Hello, Mr. Hunt. This is John Beller, and I'm going to be defending my knowledge of Unit 12, Conics. Just to start off here, my old mind map was absolutely garbage. The reason I think it was bad is because it was really just a list, and a combination of formulas and the information that I thought I needed to know, but in reality it didn't really help me at all because the things that I needed to know about, manipulating the equations and plugging things in where they needed to be weren't there. So just putting in facts like that didn't really help. Now, the new mind map I made is a serious improvement. To put it in perspective, the second one to me flows a lot more, and it's a lot easier for me to understand. So when I'm studying for this section for the final, it'll be a lot easier to process the information. I think the areas link together a lot better, and instead of just having facts and listing equations and formulas, I actually wrote things that connected each situation and things to remember about the certain conic section itself. So, for instance, I wrote that hyperbolas contain asymptotes as opposed to parabolas because hyperbolas are the only thing, or the only conic section that contains asymptotes. And same goes for parabolas. There's only one focus and a directrix. So, and then I wrote the definition of the focus and the directrix and how they relate to each other. So, to me, it's just a lot easier to process the information in the second mind map as opposed to the first one. And most important, the first one wasn't even finished. So when we got to use it on the test, obviously that really hurt me. Now, to move on, to prove how that hurt me, I have a couple examples here. This is from the Unit 12 checkpoint. Obviously, you can see I didn't do too well, 55. You already knew that, though. Just to go to number 3, I have to say my biggest area that needed improvement seemed to be, surprisingly enough, parabolas. For most people it would have been, maybe hyperbolas or ellipses just because they're a little more complicated. But I don't know, I think for me it was parabolas because I didn't have enough practice with equations that were not originally in standard form. So when I would get an equation, I had to manipulate it first to put it into standard form. I didn't know what I was doing, which seems stupid, but it just really comes down to a lack of practice. So that is obviously a concept error, and I just redid the problem in the black pen so that now I had the information. Obviously A is going to be the vertex. It's going to be 0, 0. It's really obvious because the equation has no h and k values. So to move along, the focus is going to be 0, negative 1 over 20, because negative 1 over 20 is the only thing that's going to make 5 when it's multiplied to 1, or the denominator of 1/4. So the directrix, easy. X equals 1 over 20 because it's the opposite of negative 120. And then when you put it all together, it's easy to see that it's a horizontal left parabola. So that is that. And to move along with my next example of getting the gist of this, I did another problem that had to do with a parabola. Number 5 on the assessment practice. Now, just to backtrack a little bit, another cause for my lack of skill in this area was probably having to do with the lack of even doing the assessment practice. Now, looking back, I realized that really hurt me, but I have since done the active practice, so I think that's going to really help for my final. And okay, so I did number 5. This one's a little more complicated because obviously the vertex is not going to be at 0, 0 because there are H and K values that you can see right off the bat. But this one isn't standard form, so I just had to take the vertex. It's pretty easy. You just take the values H and K. You're going to get 2 and 3, and then focus is pretty easy because C has to be 1. So you're going to get 2 and 4 there. And for the directrix, you're going to get y equals 2. So, I mean, putting all these things together, my action plan for the final is really just to get more practice. That sounds simple, but I mean, it was the lack of practice that killed me when we originally did this unit. So I mean, there's really nothing more I can say other than that. Practice, 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 practice makes perfect. So after I identified the the conceptual error there, it was pretty easy to see that the lack of practice was the cause for my errors. Alright, Mr. Hunt, thanks for watching my defense of Unit 12 Conics, and I hope you liked the song in the background. Thanks!